So, something pretty wild has surfaced online. Leaked documents are claiming that the United States has been secretly watching the interstellar object 3I Atlas for possibly 2 decades, long before it became headline news in 2025. We're talking about a hidden network of satellites, databases, and surveillance systems that supposedly tracked this thing from deep space all the way to its closest approach to the sun. Today, we're breaking down what these leaks actually say, what the technology allegedly involves, and why this story has people asking some serious questions about what our government knew and when they knew it. Let's get into it. First, let's set the stage. 3I Atlas is what scientists call an interstellar object, meaning it came from outside our solar system. It made its closest pass by the sun in late October 2025, and for a few weeks it was all anyone could talk about. Strange emissions, unusual behavior, the whole thing felt like something out of a sci-fi movie. But here's where it gets interesting. In early November, just days after 3I Atlas flew past the sun, documents started circulating online. These weren't official press releases or scientific papers, these were leaked materials. A writer reviewing them on Medium pointed out references to something called a planetary defense architecture and a bunch of programs with names like Cassandra, Oracle, Argus, and UMBRA. According to these documents, this network didn't just spot 3I Atlas in 2025, it allegedly tracked it for years, maybe more than 20, before the public ever heard about it. So what are we looking at here? Is this real? Let's break down the systems one by one. The first piece of this puzzle is something called Cassandra. Now, this isn't entirely new. Back in 2005, researchers presented a paper at the International Astronautical Congress describing a theoretical framework for tracking objects in space. The idea was to detect distant objects, follow them as they moved through what's called cislunar space, that's the region between Earth and the Moon, and maintain what they called persistence custody. Basically, never lose sight of it. At the time, this was pitched as a concept, a blueprint for future planetary defense. But the leaked documents suggest that parts of Cassandra weren't just theoretical, they might have been operational much earlier than anyone outside classified circles knew. The system reportedly uses a massive database built on something called Apache Cassandra technology, which can handle exabytes of data. For context, that's a lot of information. We're talking continuous tracking, historical records, and automated analysis of anything moving through space. If this is true, it means the U.S. had eyes on 3I Atlas long before it became a public phenomenon. But Cassandra is just the backbone. Let's talk about the actual sensors feeding it data. Next up is Oracle. This one's more recent and actually has a public paper trail. In 2022, the Air Force Research Laboratory awarded a $72 million contract to a company called Advanced Space to develop Oracle. The program includes 2 main satellites, Oracle M, which is a mobility demonstrator that was deployed in 2024, and Oracle P, a surveillance satellite scheduled to launch in 2026. Oracle P is the interesting one. It's designed with a wide field search mode and a narrow field follow-on tracking mode. Essentially, it scans a huge area of space looking for objects, and once it finds something, it can zoom in and track it in detail. The imaging system is being built by Leidos, a major defense contractor. According to the leaks, Oracle captured data on 3I Atlas around the time of its closest approach to the sun. Some of that data reportedly showed emissions that didn't quite match what you'd expect from a normal comet. Now, whether that means there's something truly unusual about 3I Atlas or whether we're just seeing the limits of our current understanding of interstellar objects, that's still up for debate. But the point is, Oracle was allegedly watching, and watching closely. Now let's talk about ARGUS-VIS. This one's a little more shadowy. The name seems to reference DARPA's ARGUS-IS system, which was developed for military surveillance on Earth. ARGUS-VIS is supposedly a space-adapted version designed for persistent wide-field coverage of cislunar space. The leaked materials claim it can handle 256 simultaneous video streams. That's an insane level of monitoring. Imagine trying to keep tabs on hundreds of objects at once in real time across thousands of miles of space. Then there's UMBRA. This is a commercial satellite constellation that's been operational since 2021. It uses synthetic aperture radar, which means it can capture high-resolution images down to about 25 centimeters in any weather, day or night. One of the leaked images references something called C-2025 UMBRA-3C, which suggests that UMBRA satellites were also involved in observing 3I Atlas. So we're looking at a layered approach: low Earth orbit, cislunar space, and potentially even deep space sensors, all feeding data into this network. Okay, so what actually leaked? 2 images, both dated November 2nd, 2025, just 4 days after 3I Atlas made its closest pass by the Sun. One image shows what's described as a geometric, star-shaped emission pattern in black and white. The other shows a green coma, basically the cloud of gas and dust around the object, with what are called white-pink plasma streams. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Comets do give off gas and dust when they get close to the Sun, but the structured, almost geometric patterns in these images don't look like typical cometary behavior. Some analysts have suggested this could just be a result of advanced imaging filters or the way the data was processed. Others think it points to something more unusual, maybe an object with a different composition or structure than what we'd expect. Either way, these images have fueled a lot of speculation, and since the U.S. government hasn't commented on the leaks at all, people are left to fill in the blanks themselves. So, why does this matter? If these leaks are accurate, it means the U.S. has had a sophisticated, multi-layered space surveillance network quietly operating for years, possibly decades. It raises questions about transparency, about what else might be tracked without public knowledge, and about the relationship between civilian space agencies like NASA and military defense programs. NASA is set to release its own high-resolution images of 3I Atlas soon, and a lot of people are waiting to see if those images match what's been leaked. If they do, it could lend credibility to the claims. If they don't, it might suggest the leaked materials were either misinterpreted, manipulated, or part of some kind of disinformation campaign. There's also a bigger question here about planetary defense. If we have the capability to track objects for decades, that's actually a good thing for protecting Earth from potential asteroid or comet impacts. But the secrecy around it makes people uneasy. Why keep it quiet? What else are we not being told? So here's where we stand. Leaked documents suggest a secret U.S. space defense network tracked 3I Atlas for possibly 20 years using systems called CASSANDRA, Oracle, ARGUS-VIS, and UMBRA. The technology is real, at least parts of it are publicly documented. The images are compelling, even if their interpretation is still up for debate, and the government? Radio silence. Whether you see this as a responsible planetary defense effort or a concerning example of unchecked surveillance probably depends on where you stand on government transparency. But one thing's for sure, 3I Atlas has given us a lot more to think about than just interstellar comets. What do you think? Are these leaks credible, or is this just another internet conspiracy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to stay updated on this story as it develops, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.